Okay, we are live. Good morning or good evening, whatever it is. It's in the middle of the night here. 4 o'clock in the morning here in Norway. um, Welcome to the live stream. Yesterday I said that I was going away for a few days. I postponed that trip, so I'm still here. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about. I'll just give it a few seconds while people can join the chat. If the screen freezes, I have found a way to fix that. So if that happens, just stick around, and I'll, in a matter of a few seconds, I will probably be back. We have KP Heathen here, Red Wolf Moon. We have Savage Lee, Van Transit from Yorkshire. Such a bunyip is here. Wonderful. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and I think that we will be talking for a while. First things first. My hike, the West Highland Way, I decided to put the information about that on my Patreon. Yes, that means that there is a $2 paywall. But the thing is that when I put information on publicly available on YouTube, there are so many strange people out there. I kind of feel it's not even completely safe or okay to do that. So yeah, it's on my Patreon. So if you're interested in hiking the West Highland Way with me this Easter or around Easter, you should go to my Patreon. It's a link to my you will find a link to my Patreon in the video description. Okay. Top model. That's me. Nothing wrong being strange. What I mean is, I think you understand what I mean. Okay. Yeah, let's talk some finance. And everyone leaves the chat. Let's now hold on. First of all, at this time of the day, and don't take offense from this, but the earlier I do these live streams, the more of this, and it seems to be an American thing. Okay, I get people here, some people, a minority, who will be not so nice. Okay, but we will manage. Economy, how to crush the world economy. Now, I think the word is a Bond, not James Bond, but isn't that a Bond? I'll look it up actually while we talk. Hold on, I'll just do like this. Bonds, yes, bonds. We have to talk about bonds. It's boring, I know, but okay. The thing is that Trump, or rather Trump slash Musk, claims that they found fake debt. Why is there a B there? Okay, and this will be done done and over with quickly, I promise. And that might be, I don't know, but what that could signal is the following. Okay, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it's certainly something that we need to be aware of. Okay, this is a snowball starting to roll. Okay, so follow me through here. Okay, the USA says we found fake debt. The USA says, or the USA government says, we're not necessarily going to pay our debt. What does that do to the people, to those people who have lended money to the USA? Well, it makes everyone a little bit wondering, like they're wondering, am I going to get my money back or not? Okay. What this does is that, a bond is when the state issues, let's say, here's a bond, not James Bond, but a piece of paper, okay, and on that piece of paper it says, um, the state, the USA, needs to borrow money and will pay back that money with this and that interest rate over a period of time, right? So, like a company, or they can buy a bond, and that's basically lending money to the USA in this case. Okay, so when that happens, when they do that, the state increases its debt. The USA, I believe, is the most indebted nation on the planet, on the globe. And when they say that they are not necessarily going to pay back that debt, it decreases the value. When it decreases the value of the bonds, in effect, the interest rate goes up. Okay, because, yeah, I'll try to make this very quick, so I won't explain all of the everything here. I'll just do this as quickly as possible. So the interest rate goes up. Okay, when the nation says we're not necessarily going to pay our debt, the interest rate goes up. When that happens, when in a huge economy like the American economy, it will affect the entire world economy. When the interest rate goes up, it becomes very difficult to invest, start business, and so on and so on. This could lead to a crack, like the finance crisis. It will be much worse. It will be much, much worse. So I just wanted to mention this. This is not political. This is just economy. It's an extremely foolish thing to say from a nation, a president saying that. It's extremely dangerous. It could spark a financial crisis. So we'll keep it at that. We will keep it at that. Okay. We will not talk more about that. I just wanted to say this. Am I going to do anything about my funds? Not now. Not now. But I will certainly be keeping an eye on things. So if you have an investment fund, maybe it's time to have a look at things. This is not financial advice. It's just me saying that keep an eye on things. Also, I will say that don't go to easy solutions like buy gold. Well, yeah, that might be right. That might be good in some cases, buy gold, but it's not a rule. It's not like that's always the best thing to do. Okay. So, having said this, I feel that I also need to vent a little bit about the level of ignorance and stupidity I've seen lately. And I knew that was coming. But it's like on my main channel, I made a video World War III. I called the video World War III. And please, Red Wolf Mount Silver. Yes, that might be the right thing to do. Crypto, maybe, maybe not. These are just options. It's not like there's a rule out there that buy gold, buy silver. That's always the thing to do. If it was, everyone would be doing that, But anyway, the level of ignorance is, I mean, I'm shocked. I am shocked. And what I'm seeing is comments, and it's comments about, um, the USA will not be paying for Europe anymore, and will not be protecting Europe anymore. And you all went woke, listen to Vance, and all of that. It makes no fucking sense. None of it. And I even have people commenting, they're going to my video about how I became an outdoors man. Not many people have watched that video, but why are people going there to spread that nonsense? It has nothing to do with any of that. So it's like, it can really, I get tired from this. So basically, what I have been thinking is that it's just stressful. I don't want to do content like that anymore because people are such fucking idiots. Sorry, excuse my language, but you know, either I don't connect with the community, meaning I don't read the comments, or I have to stay away from certain topics. And this has gotten a lot worse during the last couple of months. And I think that there's a rhetoric being spread in the USA now that is harmful. It's not the truth at all. It's just they are lies, and it feeds a sort of ethnocentrism, where you think that's when you think your culture is the best ever. And it's a bit disheartening, and it takes your hope for humanity away, you know. So I'll probably stay away from that because it does affect me. The level of stress, I can't really cope with that anymore. And it's gotten so tribal now. It's gotten so stupid that it makes it feels like I get a rush in my brain or something. It's like it's just frustrating. And I'm not going to be the guy who's trying to, bring sense and reason to people who will not fucking ever listen, you know? So, yeah. So, okay. I now want to change topic again. Um, Dave says, but why would you not think your own culture is best? Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. And I think when you travel, you quickly see that some cultures might actually be better than your culture, and some might be worse, you know. Um, Top model. If you're new to this channel, I am a supermodel, as you can see from this cup. Yeah, I was up very early because I woke up early, and what I do when I wake up is I start writing, and I had a wonderful writing session. Um, and there are times when I feel that I feel very close to the old gods. You know, um, you can read into that whatever you want, but it's a good feeling when that happens. You know, and I write about people who actually lived as a historical novelist. So there's that connection there that um, is very valuable. And I had one of those writing sessions now, and it was good. I woke up early and I was wide awake at 2 o'clock, and I will have to lie down and get some sleep later. But there's no use trying to uh, fall asleep again when it's like that. Um, yeah, and it's funny how people use these words like faith, spirituality. We were talking about the Christian nationalists, um, and they have the audacity to you know that was the Trump thing, faith office. What a fucking joke. Um, as if Christianity is the only faith out there. It's not. Paddy, you are a valuable member of this community, but also I don't like so much with these commands. I'm not interested in the Catholic faith. I just talked about the old gods, and why the hell would I be? You know? Yeah, so faith office, protecting Christianity as if Christianity needs to be protected. And it's this strange vision of these evil people, the woke evil people. They're all satanic, and they have their satanic nose rings and their blue hair and threatening Christianity. And they're all gay and transgender, and they're evil. And this perception of the world is very easy to sell, and that's what they're selling. And they have this faith office now, and the entire world is laughing. I mean, uh, so so it's like, and I'm over here. I have faith too, um, and I have respect for other people's faith. I have a lot of respect for Christians, for instance, um, because I feel that a proper Christian will be someone who understands kindness, um, someone who is selfless and helpful. Um, and these Botox Christians, I mean, they are. I'm just looking at this from the outside, and it doesn't harm me. But if I was a Christian and I saw these people, I call them now. I've started to call them the Botox Christians, and I saw them, I would be frustrated because they're fake, are they not? I mean, it's obvious, right? And I've always had a very objective, I believe, a very objective view of Trump. I don't hate Trump. I think a lot of the things that he's doing now is necessary. I also think that he is now getting a lot of things wrong, as I just mentioned with the USA debt or the bonds, which could spark a financial crisis. Hopefully, he has a team around him which will then advise him against that. But where was I? Yeah, basically the Christian thing. I understand, he's not a Christian. Come on, he's not. And you know, he has to cater to this movement because it's so central in the MAGA movement, and you need that kind of. It's not faith. These people, the Botox Christian, they have no fucking faith at all. There's, they have as much faith as this. I showed you my cup, this cup here, and they're not Christians, if I dare say so, as not being a Christian myself. They have all the rules and all the, what's the word? They have all the all the suits, and they have the uh, rituals, and they have all of that, but they don't have the faith. They don't have the faith. No, I don't think so. Yeah, the Christian nationalists, and some people, they say that there are no Christian nationalists. That's just a woke term. No, actually, they call themselves that. They've even written books about it, and how Christian nationalism is needed, and so on. But anyway, to say really, really quickly, but I think, hold on. Are we back? It froze a little bit, but I think we are back. We are back. Yes, thank you, Space Monkey. They have all the dogma, but none of the faith. And it's like I can have a good conversation with a proper Christian as a Norse pagan, and we have many, many things in common. And you know why? Because I think that these are good human values. And you will find it in Norse paganism, and you will find it in proper Christianity. Um, and I think that if you read the Havamal, you will see many, many things there that are very Christian. And if a Norse pagan reads, I would say, the New Testament, you will find many things that I would say is very, very pagan. If you get my meaning. Some people will not like that when I say it, but you have to see the context here. I'm trying to say something about similarities. It's a human thing, you know. So Slimo says, I don't listen to people with funny hats. Good advice. And what is it about the funny hats? The more dogma, the funnier the hats. The Jews have some ridiculous hats. Of course, the small ones up on the top, but also the very big ones. What's that about? And the Pope, I shouldn't speak in a bad way about the Pope. He is in hospital, I believe, but yeah, but anyway, the hat is it's very visible. Yeah. So something about the hats. The Muslims, do they have ridiculous hats? In Iran, they have the turban, that thing. Yeah, but anyway, yes, let's hope that the Pope will recover. Well, he's just an old man, so I mean, let's hope that he recovers. User 1111 says they need some kind of religion in the White House, even though secular nation, because we've seen the last 4 years without any religion, all hell broke loose, at least many religions especially. Are you sure about that? Would you be okay with then the White House being a Muslim White House? You see, that's the problem. If you're not going to have a secular nation, then you get the problem. Then which religion will be in the forefront? And that's the problem. It's like the only way actually is to have a secular nation. How? Because the alternative is that you prioritize one of the religions, and then you're basically saying that this nation is a Muslim nation, a Christian nation, a Jewish nation, and so on. Oh, sorry. There were more to your two comments there. User 1111. Let's see if I can. Where's part 2? I can't see it. Let's see. YouTube is up to its old tricks now. Now I'm seeing. Sorry, it's gone. Oh, there it is. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Especially Christianity. Here's the rest of the comment. Promotes moral values and keeps politicians and citizens in check for the most part. Trump can't promote pagan religions, or else he'd never win in the US. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Although I don't agree with all of that necessarily, but you have a good point. Yes. No, it's I think people can talk for hours and discuss religion, but I've kind of arrived at conclusion that it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is kindness. You have to be kind to yourself, and you have to be kind to other people. That's the only way, and the only way forward. And if people out there think that, oh, Bjorn has gone woke, listen to what he's saying there. I don't care. It really is what, if I dare say so, what life has taught me. Kindness is what matters. Doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or Christian or Norse pagan or whatever. It's are you a kind person or not? You know, I think that's what matters. And I wouldn't say I've known, like, been friends with, but let's say I've heard about some very cruel Christian people, some very cruel and evil Muslim people. I can't say the same about Norse pagans, but that's probably because there are not that many people who are Norse pagans. Um, yeah. Let's see. Yes, Jeff Will is 80. That's a good point. People would be in an uproar if a president opened a Church of Satan office in the White House. You know what? I would like to see that. That would be so much fun. Yeah, it's I know a YouTuber. Well, I don't know him, but I've seen some of his videos, and he's a member of the Church of Satan. And what they say is that they don't believe in Satan. It's more like the whole movement is a comment to the more dogmatic Christianity in the USA. I think it's silly. I have to say that. I think it's silly. But actually, if you're going to have now, Satanism is, when you look at it, Satanism is it's not part of Christ. I was going to say it's part of Christianity. It's it's not. It's one of the branches in the Abrahamic faith. That's the correct way to say it, if you look at it properly. Okay. And ironically, the Church of Satan is not a religion. They are atheists, as far as I understand it. And they're trolling, and I think it's silly. Yeah, you can't have Satanism without Christianity. What I was going to say is that actually, if you're going to have a non-secular nation, you could actually, in theory, have a satanic nation, a nation where the president is member of the Church of Satan. Can you imagine that? Because why should that not be equally allowed? Why not? Well, I see many reasons why not, but just if I'm allowed to be a little bit playing the devil's advocate, that was a fitting expression here, actually. So it's never going to happen, of course. But again, I think that as someone who grew up in a Christian nation, Norway was a Christian nation when I grew up. Now it's a secular nation, and I've seen that change. And it's not like it's because it became secular then people started being behaving in horrible ways. That's not how it is. Yeah. So, but it's interesting, and I think that it's very correct what people are writing here, that in the USA, the president has to be a Christian, and they have to say, well, they are actually saying, so God help me, or something like that. Hmm. Now, Uval, atheism is not a religion. It really is not. It is not a belief. It's a lack of belief, and it's in the word itself. Without God, it means. And a secular nation does not mean that the nation is atheist. It means that it does not prioritize one religion over others. So faiths and religions are treated the same way, and also lack of such. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I disagree there. While secular has its issues too, lack of purpose, values. A lot of atheists have a lot of purpose and value. If you're a parent, you have a purpose. As a secular parent, you have a purpose, obviously. Many other things in life as well. You can't really say that only a religion gives you purpose. I think that would be very disrespectful to atheist people. Let's see here. Yeah, I know. Ace says there was a satanic display set up in the Iowa state capitol at Christmas time that got removed by the state. Yeah. I saw that, actually. While I think that as long as they're not destroying public property, I think it should be allowed to do things like that. I also think that my feeling is it really necessary? To me, it's a little bit, it seems a little bit stupid, or may I say childish. Um, but if that's what they want to do, then go ahead. Uh, okay. Yeah, it seems like religion, especially Christianity, is this thing that makes people very emotional, and people are interested in this. uh, yeah, so let's scroll up a little bit. Yeah, the movie, Joe. Yes, the movie Idiocracy. I actually haven't seen it, but I've seen so many clips from that movie, so I've probably seen the most of it. Nobody can read the moral compass anymore. I think and I've talked about this before. What worries me is this contempt of knowledge, this contempt of anything university. Have you noticed that? So this, I mean, let's play the conspiracy theory game again. Wouldn't it be beneficial to immoral people in positions of power to have the people, the normal people, fighting amongst themselves and having them belittle those who choose to go to university and so on? Wouldn't it be beneficial to have almost none of the working class, so to speak, aspire to higher education and a career in, science, uh, the intellectual professions? Wouldn't that be beneficial to have people just skilled enough to operate machinery in the factories, so to speak? And it's quite easy to see that we have contempt being pushed by social media, contempt for higher education, and more disturbingly, contempt for people who choose higher education, like college and university, and it's a waste of time and so on and so on. Now, and it seems like what is being portrayed is that if you go to university, you become a blue hair, nose ring, woke person. And now I don't know what it's like in the USA, but I can tell you it's not like that here. And I kind of doubt that it is like that in the USA. I mean, you need the doctors, you need engineers, you need what else? People who design industrial designers who design things like this. You need what else? Chemists, physicists. You need, you get what I'm saying here. So you need those people too, and while I think that not all university educations are beneficial, and dare I say gender studies, but then again, it's difficult to I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know what's going to be needed in 10 years from now. I don't know. So it's a little bit dangerous actually to say that, well, we don't need this, but we need that, and so on. So we use gender studies as an example of something not useful, but maybe it is useful. I don't know. I haven't done gender studies. I don't know what it involves. And even if there are maybe some things that people study that might not be useful, what's much, much worse is that we now see this contempt for higher education. And that, I think, might prevent some people from choosing that path. If you have an intellectual mind, I think you should pursue that. um, ta- take the right says you don't want a general mechanic doing heart surgery on you. Exactly. Um, yeah. Um, like my daughter, she is studying biology. Um, it is absolutely something that we need. Um, a girl in the powerlifting club, she is studying to be a doctor, not like a physician. That is absolutely something that we need. So I think it's disturbing that we see this, how it's popular now to look down upon people who go to university. And I think that the current administration in the USA is making this worse. Um, what was it now? They were basically dismantling the whole Department of Education. Um, what are they going to replace it with? Am I wrong? I thought, I think I read something about that. Um, so, I mean, also, I worry a little bit if, I mean, are they going to replace like proper uh, tested and proven science with uh, Bible studies? I mean, what's happening? Are we going that way? Is that where the USA is heading? I don't know. I hope not. So, I mean, it's okay. So here's how I view this. Education is like roads. Okay, some things we know for a fact that there are some things that we need in a nation, in society. There are some things that we need. We need a sewage system. We need roads. We need clean water. Um, we need a welfare system that takes care of those who are in need, those who are sick. That's not a woke and socialist thing to say. It's just a human thing to say. I think it's a sensible thing to say. And we also need to invest in education. Young people, and I'm absolutely a believer in supporting financially with your and my taxpayer money. Uh, support young people who want to get an education. Um, I find that's very important. Um, it's one of the things that we should pay for, and I will gladly pay for that. Um, there are many other things we should not pay for as taxpayers, but that's one of the things. It's like roads. I will pay for the roads through when I pay taxes, and I will pay so that we have a system where not only rich kids can go and get a higher education. Imagine the amount of talent you never discover if only rich people's kids go and get a can go and get a higher education. If you want to call me woke and socialist for saying that, go ahead. I don't care. I'm just being what I believe sensible. If you look at cultures and nations who have not invested in higher education, well, it's easy to see what happens. It only takes a generation. And then you have an unskilled population, and you have to import um, skilled people from other countries. So, of course, there's the question: should we pay for all kinds of education? Probably not. Probably not. So in Norway, for instance, most higher education is for free, but not all of it. I chose my degree. I actually did not get it. I need to be honest here. I didn't get my degree as a master of economics, I think it's called in English. I didn't get it because I did all the exams and all of that, but I didn't finish my diploma assignment because I wrote a novel instead. But that I had to pay for myself. So I think, and I'm just sharing my opinion here, we need people, young people, we need a system where young people have the opportunity to choose the path that they want. So if you want to go to trade school, do that. If you want to get a higher education, you should be able to do that. So, yeah. And there are many other things we should not be paying for through with our taxpayer money. And now we talked about religious dogma. We shouldn't be paying. Well, I don't know how it is in Norway, but at least in the USA, we shouldn't be paying taxes so that mega churches won't have to, right? They should be paying taxes as well because they are businesses. And I'm sure there are many, many other examples. Laissez-moi tranquille. My French is a little bit rusty. Taxes are extortion. I agree. I agree. Because basically, this is the libertarian argument, which is a good argument concerning taxes. What happens if you don't pay your taxes? Well, you get a demand to pay your taxes. Then you get another demand to pay your taxes. And eventually they will go and take your house. And if you refuse that, the police will come and try to remove you violently. And if you defend your home, they will put you in prison or kill you. So it's taxes. It's basically extortion with the threat of violence. Yeah. Interesting here from Jacob Cultivates. The AI problem. You're writing here. They want to replace workers with AI systems ultimately. It looks like purposeful economic crash and then AI to the rescue with cryptocurrency. A purposeful economic crash. Yeah, that could happen. We talked about, are they, and this was actually discussed on the TV. We have a debate program on the normal TV. Actually, it's very good. It's a team of young, intelligent journalists, and they are I'll give it to them. They are really doing good work there. Um, and yeah, so they had a discussion about that with the bonds, James Bond, no, the bonds, the US bonds, and what we discussed at the beginning of this live stream. And could it be intentional? That was the question. Is this intentional? Because it's like, I refuse to think that Trump is stupid. I don't think he's stupid. But so, is this intentional? Are they trying to crash the economy? Are they trying to do something dramatic and replace the system with, as you said there, crypto and AI? Oh, wow. Nero, thank you so much for that awesome donation. Wow. Thumbs up for you, my friend. That's very, very kind of you. And it helps me to keep going here, and it helps the entire community here. Thank you. Where was I? Oh yeah, AI. So yes, okay. So there are some professions that have been marked as vulnerable to AI. Drivers. So taxi drivers, bus drivers. When we have self-driving buses and cars in the near future, they will probably not be needed. Lawyers, because AI will use the material in the databases, and they will not need as many lawyers to prepare the cases and so on. And I have to say, and I'm very saddened to say this, novelists. I'm a novelist, and I'm seeing how this is now starting to destroy my profession. I talked about that before, so I won't get into that again. Musicians, and this is the sad part, how AI is starting to destroy art, or rather replace art with glorified copying of the art that has already been produced, because that's what AI is. And yes, they can't write Jomsviking, I know, but AI can't write that, I know. But what happens is that I now have to compete with novelists, and I use that term wide, like in its widest sense, who use AI to produce books, and they produce many books much, much faster, because they ask AI to write the book, and then they go through it, and they have written, quote unquote, written a book in 2 weeks. Publisher Red Wolf Moon is asking, publishers will put up with that crap. Apparently they do. And there is even a publishing house, I believe, it was announced here in Norway. They have been they publish only AI books. So yeah. And yes, money is money, says the Grims. But if art is only about money, you end up with, if money is the artist's motivation, I believe you're not making art. That so-called artist is not making art, because that can't be your motivation if you are an artist. Because then you end up with all your music would sound like what's her name? Rihanna, something like that. I'm old, so I'm not up to date on the pop music thing. All the music would sound like that, and all the books would be similar to the latest bestseller, you know. So yes, laisse-moi tranquille. If I got that right, I think. If art is only about money, you end up with art to fill hotel lobbies and walls. Yeah. Oh, yeah. How could I forget? Another profession, if we can call it that, that will be destroyed by AI. It looks like that, at least now, is being a YouTuber or a social media creator. Jacob Cultivates says there's AI YouTube channels producing rapid rate AI content, and they're monetized, making money. Yes, that's true. That's true. And it works like this. The more competition you have in a niche, the less views you're going to get, probably. So AI is, it was already difficult on YouTube because of YouTube. And now with AI, it's even more difficult. I wouldn't be able to make a living from YouTube now. I would not be able to do that, even with 4 channels and one of them quite big. And I do look at Instagram sometimes, and I'll give you a insight into what I did. I was a naughty boy because there was on Instagram a little video there. A girl, a bikini girl. Imagine Bjorn, your uncle Bjorn was a dirty old man, and he clicked on that because it was not so much because it was a girl in a bikini. It was more because I thought, is that AI? It was like, because something about the fingers is always something about the fingers, and she playing a flute, and the little finger was going like very, very fast. And I was curious, is that AI? And then I clicked on it and I saw the name of the profile, or whatever it's called, had AI in the name. And what then happened, so it was an AI generated video. It was not a real human being. So what then happened was that Instagram is now showing me or suggesting a huge number of similar videos, because I was foolish and I clicked on that. I was curious. I needed to know, is this AI? And now I'm seeing all of these other videos suggested. And I hope they go away. But they're probably all AI. So we'll get a lot of jokes here now. So that's okay. Yeah. But isn't that sad when you have, AI replacing human beings? Can I click not interested? Can you do that on Instagram? I'm not so I'm not really into Instagram so much. Uh, yeah. Um, yes. Sharp Canine says Instagram is all over us with suggestions. If you mention dishwasher in a text to a friend, somehow dishwasher ads start showing up on Instagram. Yeah. Okay, you can click not interested. Okay, on Instagram. Yes. Okay. Um, um, Kingdoms from Cobalt says AI is too energy expensive to run in long term on large scale. We already have too many problems providing power for people as is. Yes, good point there. Let's talk about energy. A little bit of background. Back in 2012, was it? I'm guessing now, 2010 something. 2012, 20, what was it before that? Well, many years ago, some politicians, they found out that, and they actually said it, Norway will be the green battery for Europe. The green battery for Europe. And then they worked to get Norway connected. Norway is not part of the EU, okay? So they worked to get Norway connected to the EU with cables so that the power produced in Norway could be exported. Um, and what we then saw was that, of course, the electricity bill just skyrocketed. It was not doubled. It was very, very quickly. I think the price went up 400%, 400%, if I'm not mistaken, because they connected Norway to the market in continental Europe, where highest bidder price is what goes. They then started to chop down the trees to erect wind turbines and so on and so on. Now, the latest thing that these idiotic, greedy, corrupt politicians we have here have decided, without any discussion, without any debate, is that, well, those protected, valuable streams and rivers in Norway that we protected for a reason to preserve wildlife and so on. Yeah, we'll put them in pipes and get power from those waterfalls. Yeah, because it doesn't matter, does it, anymore? We need to power the data banks, those big, huge facilities. Those, they have to cut down an entire forest to make room for them, where they power AI. And one of those facilities that is being built across the fjord here is going to use to spend or to use up so much of the total produced power, electric power in Norway, that it can be measured in percentage. Like one of those facilities, 3%, 5%, something like that. It's insane. That's only one of these facilities. Um, so yeah, AI is extremely um, devastating to nature as well. And in this time and age where people are talking about, we have to preserve the environment. Well, AI is not good for the environment, is it? It's not. And then these idiots are saying, well, AI will find solutions for us to preserve the environment. And no, no, it's not. It's not going to do that. And I don't think that. Well, I do think that human activity has a major impact on our environment, and I think that we should do what we can to consume less electric power. But they never talk about that, do they? It's just more, more, more. Okay. Um, I'll just scroll up a little bit. Uh, yeah. Ian says same in the UK. We are paying megabucks for electricity. Yeah. And these policies and these decisions are being done by politicians who will also say, they will just turn around and then say, the rich people should pay more in taxes because of morals, and that's a fair thing. Well, if you cared about poor people, you would say, well, we shouldn't have policies that makes poor people, unable to pay their electricity bill. We shouldn't have policies. We shouldn't run a country in such a way that old people are freezing in their apartments. um, yeah. Valerie says I don't pay for electricity. It's included in my rent. Well, that's great. But eventually they will increase the rent, of course, if the electricity bill goes up, because they're not going to, your landlord is not going to want to lose money. Um, yeah, there's also the thing where they can make AI more energy efficient, but we're not there yet. And if they're going to just increase the use of AI, I don't see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Uh, exactly, kingdoms and kobolds. You're writing they should stop pushing policies that drive up living expenses if they really gave a damn about poor people. Exactly. And they make these tiny, tiny changes in the tax policies. Oh, we are so we're helping poor people because now you're paying $100 less in taxes this year. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting about the Tesla cars, by the way, electric cars, of course, and they've been pushed a lot here in Norway. And then Elon Musk did his my heart goes out to you arm movement, and I'm still not sure what he did there. Um, but yeah, after that, actually, one hand movement can what's the term? Tank the sales. Um, so yeah, yeah, I read that the sales of Tesla cars, at least in Norway, they it plummeted. But I think it's stupid because if that matters to you, well, to people, if that matters to people, well, why are they then going out and buying a car where the parts have been made by slave workers in Chinese prison camps, like imprisoned Uyghurs in China and so on? Is that okay? Apparently, that's okay. That's fine, you know. But a hand movement done by the boss in a huge corporation is apparently much worse. Um, yeah, I don't like the Tesla cars, but that's because I don't like the seats so much. They're not comfortable. I have I don't have an electric car. I think you have to have a smartphone to actually get into that car. Um, um, yeah. Oh yeah, they have this big screen as well. Yes, that's true. Um, my daughter is doing the when you learn how to drive before you take the driver's test. Is that what you call it? And that car she's been driving is a Tesla. Um, and she says it's not really that comfortable, but a lot of people like them. Exactly, kingdoms and kobolds. They don't mind the slavery as long as they don't have to see it. And we don't even have to mention where the thing where they mine for the metals that you need for the battery in your iPhone and so on. Yeah. Space Monkey, did they actually do that? You're writing that they install a micro-nuclear power plant to run AI and quantum. Yeah, quantum computers are coming, of course, and that will change a lot. Um, yeah. It's the double standards, when Greta Thunberg, she wouldn't fly to, was it the USA? And so she boarded a catamaran, I think it was, and they sailed across the Atlantic, didn't they? For the environment. Now I have a sailboat, and I can't think of anything more ridiculous than what she did there. Each and every part of that sailing boat has been shipped to the place where they made it, and it's covered in poison, basically. If you have a sailing boat, the anti-fouling is poison. Um, yes, you use sails, but I mean, the sails themselves. That was really. I don't know if people remember this now, but I was shaking my head there. Yeah, sharp canines. Google has bent the knee by renaming places on the maps. Oh, is that the Gulf of America? Is it? how they and Denali. I'm always going to call it Denali, and the Gulf of Mexico. But it's only going to show up for people in the USA, and the rest of the world they see the proper old names there. So it's those are special names for people in the USA. Yeah. Grassland says it's always the Gulf to me. Yeah. And this is one of those things. I don't get why people get worked up about this. Why do people get so emotional about it? I don't care if it's called Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico. I do care about the Denali thing because, I mean, Denali is the proper name of that mountain. I mean, I think that's one of those cases where you can say, well, this is a distraction. This is something politicians use. They show you a shiny thing, like magicians. Look at this hand. Look at this hand, so you don't see what the other hand is doing. And dare I say, it's a little bit childish. You can call it the Gulf or whatever. I mean, we already have different names depending on where you are from. So, I mean, Germany, Deutschland, Tyskland. Kim sold he has 80 cases on all his antics in court. Who is that? Is that Trump? I can't see Miss Willow Moon. I can't see. Yeah, I saw that argument. Because the former government says that decided that they shouldn't drill for oil in that Gulf, and then the argument is that, well, we just change the name and then we can drill for oil. I don't see that the legal system doesn't work like that. You can't just change the name and then court rulings will be void. I don't. Oh, Trump. Okay, yeah. No, I don't. I don't see how changing the name for an area can then change the rulings and the regulations for that area. That seems a little bit far-fetched, I would say. But I'm not, of course, I don't know the legal system in that area. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Miss Willow Moon. It makes no sense. It seems like it's something that was done as part of the so-called culture war. It seems like something aimed at just securing support among a certain part of the population. And Yeah, it's to Alex, yes, to rally nationalism. It seems obvious, but the thing is that what this kind of thing, it has the opposite effect in Europe. And back to what I was talking about when I referred to many of the comments on my main YouTube channel on the World War III video. I see people there they're being very emotional, very ethnocentric, very a little bit stupid, you know. Yeah, I've already talked about that. Shining Noctos says renaming Denali to Mount McKinley would seemingly be inspired by President William McKinley, who was known for overseeing a period of American expansionism. Coincidence? I didn't know that, but that's interesting. Um, hmm. Let's see here. No, I don't have to look it up. I really don't. Yeah, well, what happens? So, okay, the effect here is that, and this I have mentioned before, but the effect this has in Europe is that there's a contempt now. There's a anti-Americanism, if I can call it that. And I don't like to see that, but this happened with the Greenland thing, and it happened. I never seen it was so fast. It happened so fast, and the hate and the we didn't like so much to see that guy, the Donald Jr. guy in Greenland like that. We did not like to see that. It was an obvious taking advantage of people thing. We did not like to see that. I don't want to get into that too much, but it created an atmosphere here where people are shaking their head and laughing. Um, at the whole new American thing. I don't know what to call it actually, because it's not like the USA I know. I don't know what to call it. Some people call it Trumpism. Some people call it, well, part of it is Christian nationalism, of course. Um, I don't know what to call it. And after that, the same guy, Don Jr., he went to Italy and he went hunting and he shot a protected species bird, and bragged about it. What a little shit he is. I mean, come on. What is this about? I mean, are we intentionally waking up in the morning? Is he intentionally waking up in the morning and thinking, what can I do to be a proper bastard today? Is he like that? You have to ask the question, you know? Um, Yeah, K Max, I've noticed that there's an anti-European vibe coming from the USA. And but the the attitude here, and I have to say this, the attitude here is that is let me sum it up for you. The European attitude towards the USA now is, and I'm sorry to say this, it's who the hell do they think they are? Who the hell do they think they are? That's the attitude here. It's an attitude of disrespect. It's an attitude of almost like looking at little children screaming and having a tantrum. Like, who are these immature, stupid people? I'm sorry. It's this is what I'm observing, and it's a feeling people have here. It's not correct. I get that. Of course, it's not. But more and more people are having an anti-American attitude. Um, is that a good thing? No, I don't think that's a good thing. We need to come together, and we can't have this mutual contempt for each other. It's not good. Um, yeah, Alex, Trump is destroying our relations with allies, but his followers love it. It seems like they do. Yeah. Carola says insulting and being disrespectful is so dangerous. Yes. And what it tends to do is that you get the same thing back. You know, it's like, have you seen in the movies, when two armies, like middle age, middle aged, medieval age armies meet on the battlefield, and they will shout insults to each other before they start fighting. It's a little bit like that. Um, Audrey, I can assure you that Europe will keep waging war without the USA. I did a live stream on that. I looked at the numbers, and I wanted to say that Europe is not capable of doing that without the USA, but it's absolutely capable to keep the war going in Ukraine. Yeah, absolutely. It's not ideal, but it seems what they're gearing up to do. I hope they won't. To what end? Yeah, Space Monkey. To what end? Yeah, but Europe is a continent of war. It's like there's almost no soil here that, if I dare be a little bit poetic, that hasn't been fertilized with blood. And it's an I think some of the reason is that the conflicts go back so far. They go back, a long, long time back in history. In the Ukraine, it's a very complex situation, and I listened to Putin's little creative. He had a creative take on history, Russian and Ukrainian history. And he was criticized for that, and rightly so. But if you look at the history in that area, it's very interesting, and you can go back to the ethnic cleansing of Russians which Ukraine did. You can go further back to Stalin's Stalin's ethnic cleansing, and you can go back and back and back. You can go back to the issues with the Polish people in Ukraine. You can go back to the establishment of the Kievan Rus, and what I think needs, it will never stop, and so you need to put your foot down and say no more war, no more killing. That's the only way, and we can go. It doesn't make any sense, it doesn't make any sense to say who started. It doesn't make any sense. In Europe, it doesn't make any sense. To Europeans, no, sorry, Americans might not understand this because this is easier. Things like this is easier in North America. And Europe, saying who started makes no sense because there's always something that happened before that. Oh, you started. Well, then I can say, well, your ancestors started before that and they did this and that. And then the other side says, well, before that, your ancestors did this and that. And we can go back into the probably back to the time when we had just climbed down from the trees. So yeah. Yeah, same with Israel. It annoys me when people say, well, the Jews were there first, it's their land. No, they fucking were not. Read the Bible if you believe something, and if you believe that the Bible has some value as in historical text, which it probably has some of it. It says there that there were people there, and what's it called? Israelites were commanded to kill them by their kind God, or something like that, and they killed them and they took the land. So clearly, there were people there before that, and those people who were there probably took that land from someone else. I don't know. So yeah, it makes no sense to say who started. It makes no sense to try to make it right and fair. Eventually, you just have to put your foot down and say, okay, this is where we are now, and we will not kill anymore. We will not have any more killing. Um, you know, how the hell can anyone know for sure that they were there first? Yes, Matthew, exactly. Yeah. Well, actually, in Scandinavia, we can, because we had the ice here. We had a glacier, so it was impossible to live here before the glacier retracted. So, and they have the archaeologists have found traces of the first settlements, and those were actually the first people here after the Ice Age. So you can actually say that those people were the first because their settlement there has been dated back to the time right after, not the day after, but fairly short time after the ice retracted, the glacier retracted. So they were actually the first people here. Um, yeah, and you can probably do the same in the UK as well, and similar places that were covered by the glacier. Um, yeah. Yeah, they have the Cheddar Man in the UK. I know. Um, yeah, the Palestine thing. Um, that what's the name? Rome gave the land. Um, yeah. Okay. Angela, you're just joining. I was just ending this live stream. Yeah. So, um, yeah, two feathers. Yes, war, money laundering. It's a perfect environment for money laundering. I think it's naive to not see that. Um, and we have talked about how the criminal economy, criminal activity has its own economy. And I listened to a seminar where people in the police, they were talking, some guy in the police, he was talking about how the criminal economy is dependent on money laundering because they need to get the money they make in the criminal economy. They need to get it into the legal economy. Uh, that was very interesting. And it explains a lot. I can tell you that. It explains a lot. Because there's the huge amounts of money that they need to get into the legal economy. Yes. Mm. So, yes, Carola, we are an international community here. We don't want to be turned into enemies by crazy politicians. That is true. We have had people here who have been abusive and not kind and not very nice, but they've been kicked out. So, yeah. Okay, I'll end the live stream there. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll be back in suddenly. I'll be back. Okay. Thank you all for joining. I'll get some sleep now, I think, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.